She was just a little girl, frail and tired, holding a teddy bear almost as big as she was. He was a man in a crisp suit, eyes hollow from the weight of a lonely life. In a busy park full of benches, their paths crossed on one. "Can I sit here?" she asked, with a cough that seemed to shake her entire body. He looked up, startled, and his answer changed both their lives forever. This is the story of how a simple question from a sick little girl awakened a heart that had forgotten how to feel and sparked a kindness that neither of them saw coming. It was an overcast afternoon in Central Park, the kind where the clouds feel heavier than the sky itself, and the world moves just a little more slowly. The leaves rustled in the wind as people passed each other in quiet haste, too caught up in their routines to notice the smaller, quieter moments unfolding around them. Sitting alone on a weathered bench near the old stone fountain was James Whitmore, a man dressed in a sleek black suit, polished shoes, and an expression that hadn't changed in years. James wasn't there for fresh air or scenery, he was there for memory. James was the CEO of Whitmore Technologies, a multi-million-dollar tech company built from the ground up. To the outside world, he had everything: wealth, power, recognition. But none of it mattered anymore. 2 years ago, his wife, Lily, had died unexpectedly from a brain aneurysm. One moment she was there laughing over breakfast, humming to a Beatles song, and the next, gone. No warning, no goodbye. Since that day, Sundays had become sacred. They used to be his favorite day, the one he and Lily would reserve just for them. Coffee in the park, people watching, quiet conversations. This bench had held so much life once. Now it held his grief. He sat, staring blankly ahead, lost in the static silence of his thoughts, when a voice broke through. "Can I sit here?" James turned. Standing beside him was a little girl, small, fragile, pale. She wore a knitted hat, pulled tightly over her bald head. Dark circles shadowed her eyes, and a soft pink mask covered her mouth. In her arms, she clutched a faded teddy bear, whose stitching had seen better days. He hesitated. Children weren't part of his life. His wife had wanted them, but he had always said, "Later, when we're more stable." Now later would never come, sure, he said, scooting slightly to give her space. She climbed up with effort, her movements careful and slow. "Thanks," she whispered. There were other benches, but they were all cold. This one looked warmer. James gave a soft nod, unsure of what to say. After a pause, she turned to him and said, "I'm Emma, James." "That's a nice name," she said, her eyes smiling, even though her face looked tired. He noticed the hospital bracelet on her wrist. Her skin was thin, almost translucent. Her energy seemed to flicker like a candle in the wind. He finally found the courage to ask, "You feeling okay?" Emma shrugged. "Leukemia. I had chemo yesterday. It makes my legs hurt, but the doctors say it's working." James felt a sudden ache in his chest. "You're very brave." Emma looked down. "My mom says that too, but sometimes I don't feel brave." He swallowed hard, not knowing how to respond. "You're braver than most people I know," he finally said. Emma smiled faintly. "Do you come here a lot?" "Every Sunday," he said. "Used to come with my wife." "What was her name?" "Lily." Emma tilted her head, thoughtfully. "That's a flower name, like me. My mom says Emma means whole or universal, but sometimes I don't feel whole." James looked away. This little girl, hurting, fragile, yet open and unafraid, was breaking through walls he had built years ago. He hadn't had a real conversation with anyone outside of work in months. She didn't seem to notice the pain he carried, or maybe she didn't, and that's why she sat with him. "Do you believe in angels?" she asked suddenly. He turned to her. "Why do you ask?" "Because when I sleep in the hospital, I hear a voice sometimes. It says, 'You're not done yet.' I think maybe it's an angel." James had stopped believing in anything after Lily died. But now, sitting beside this child who had every reason to give up and hadn't, he wasn't so sure anymore. Just then, a woman approached, holding 2 paper cups. "Here you go, sweetheart." She glanced at James, her expression shifting from concern to relief. "Oh-hello, double quotes." James stood. "Hi, I'm James. We were just talking." Emma smiled beneath her mask. "Mom, he's really nice. He used to come here with his wife." Her mother, Karen, nodded kindly. "It's good to have someone to talk to." James hesitated. "Would you mind if I brought her hot chocolate next time? It's nice, having someone to talk to." Emma's eyes lit up. "Can I, Mom?" Karen looked at James closely, then slowly nodded. "That would be kind." And just like that, a Sunday ritual began. Week after week, they met at the bench. Emma, her mother, and James. They talked about books, animals, favorite foods. James brought puzzles, little toys, and even a bouquet of lilies one week. He began to laugh again, to smile without forcing it. For the first time in years, he looked forward to something. Emma grew weaker some weeks, but she never lost her spark. She'd hold James' hand when the pain was bad. Her mother often stood at a distance letting them talk. She saw what it was doing for both of them. One chilly morning, Emma turned to James and whispered, "Will you promise me something? Anything. When I get better, will you take me to your company? I want to see the computers and robots." "My daddy was an engineer too." James blinked, holding back tears. "Absolutely." But 2 Sundays later, Emma didn't show, or the Sunday after that. On the third week, James received a letter at his office. It was a small envelope with childlike handwriting. Inside was a note. Dear Mr. James, I had to go to sleep for a while, but I want you to know that you made my heart happy. Please keep sitting on the bench and maybe talk to other people who are sad. You're good at that. I believe in angels and I think you might be one. Love, Emma. Along with the letter was a small drawing. A little girl with a teddy bear, sitting on a bench beside a tall man in a suit. Above them, the sun glowed with a golden halo. James sat alone in his office, the letter shaking in his hands. And for the first time in his adult life he cried, out of sorrow, but from something deeper. A grief laced with gratitude. Months passed. Life moved forward, but James was not the same. He started a foundation in Emma's name, the Emma Whitmore Foundation. He added Whitmore because she felt like the daughter he never had. The foundation supported children with cancer, offered hospital programs, and gave parents resources they never had before. It became his new purpose. Still, every Sunday he visited the bench, but he was no longer alone for long. Sometimes a child would sit beside him, other times a parent, occasionally someone who just looked lost, and he'd turn to them and ask, "Can I sit here?" That bench became more than a piece of wood and metal. It became a space of kindness, conversation, and quiet healing. Emma was gone, but her spark lived on. In every cup of hot chocolate handed to a sick child, in every word of comfort spoken to a grieving stranger, in every smile James offered where once there was only silence. Sometimes, the smallest souls leave the biggest marks. And all it takes to change a life is asking, "Can I sit here?" If this story touched your heart, take a moment today to sit beside someone who looks like they could use a little light. You never know whose world you might change just by being there. This is Kindness Sparks. Remember, even the smallest spark can light the way. Like, share, and subscribe if you believe in the power of kindness. And we'll see you in the next story.